Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Chris Legaspi, and today are going to continue the How to See Shapes series. And this episode will be about how to see the shapes in clothing and fabric. So, we're not always going to be drawing naked people, although some of us like to draw naked people, including myself. You will have to eventually draw clothes models, costumes, and drapery. Sometimes it's nice to put the drapery on your model, and especially if you're into illustration like me, the movie poster work, obviously you're going to be drawing. John Wick's going to be wearing a suit. The beautiful girl, Harley Quinn's going to be wearing clothing. So this is part of the business. And we're going to cover a lot of things, especially the tools that are covered in previous episodes. And then we're going to do some new things specifically for fabric. So thank you all for joining me today.
And before we begin, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my free Insiders Club. Insiders Club members get first access to these weekly live streams, and you also get access to other live events, and you get discounts on courses and programs, along with access to free lessons and other free content available only to subscribers. So all you have to do is go to www.drawwithchris.com, and there you can enter your email and you'll be good to go.
We're going to start by covering some of the tools. A lot of the tools are going to be a review of the tools from the previous lessons in this series, but we're going to go specific into a couple of tools that are helpful for clothing and fabric. Then we're going to go through the process. I'll do some demonstrations and then some homework and ways to improve. And if you're joining me live or on replay and this is your first time, comment below. Let me know where you are calling from, where are you watching from, where are you located, what time is it for you? I'm currently in Asia. I'm in Thailand, and it's 9 in the evening for me. So thank you for being here. All right, let's start with some tools. So pretty much every tool we covered in the previous series, how to see the shapes and heads, the figure, the environment, all of those are going to be used today. And we're also going to combine the value shapes. So if you haven't already, make sure to review all of those other lessons. They're all available on my YouTube channel now. All right, quickly go over the tools. This drawing on the left is from Bargs, a wonderful, I'm assuming it's a drawing of a sculpture or a plaster. So uh, we got to know the extremity, the top, the bottom. Let's just go to the bottom of the fabric here, or toe. Uh, what's the rightmost? What's the leftmost? That's the first thing we need to find the contour, corners and straights. Lots of corners here, back of her head, a little bit of a straight there. You can argue that the whole left side is a nice long straight, but it's more of a curvy straight, so really, really strong silhouette definition in the front. Concave corner, subtle corner, ignoring the wobbles for now, the little bumps at the top. Nice straight there, corner where it turns in, her hood, and then it's like a straight concave corner. So really nice there. And then if we look at the value shapes, well, there's pretty much, because value, the shadow shape, the dark shadow shape will really define the fabric for us. So you can clearly see one here at the top of her, where her hood on her shoulder there. There's an interior contour line here for this piece, this outer sleeve. I think it's called the tunic. Look at this clear line and a little cast shadow there. Again here, So just some really quick shapes. Again here, fold happening here. Little wrinkle here. We'll talk about wrinkles in a minute. So these little dark accents and dark shapes are helping me define fabric. That's the end of the wrist there. Same here, corner. So beautiful drawing makes it easy for us. On the right, it says photography. Well, all the rules apply. So number one, let's look for the contour. So corners. Well, first extremity, uppermost, lowermost would be the shorts down here, right above the knee. At the left would be the elbow. At the right would be the inner elbow. And then the sleeve there. Another corner, obviously the jacket corners at the shoulder, create sharp corners. The neckline, the collar, nice straight. Same with the girl. Look at her beautiful little shoulder part of her dress. Nice straight here at the collar. Corner here at where the collar meets the elbow. The leftmost part of her body would be where her waist is here, and the skirt meets her waist right here. Skirt meets her waist. Obviously, the bottom is the bottom of her skirt. So look for the bottom parts of each. Remember, we want the bottom of the whole contour and also the extremities of each individual section, just like the hair. Clothing has individual sections. On the male, the jacket, obviously, corner. Interior of the jacket is rounded. It's rounded, but we can make it a corner. Remember using the apex. That's another tool. Review that from previous lessons. We went over that in detail. The corner of the pant leg, the interior of the collar, sharp, straight, really nice straight. Now, value shapes, obviously. First one that grabs me is this value under his hand. So that's a value shape, but what's only on the left, it helps us to find the end of the wrist there and the sleeve. But underneath this part of the jacket, that's a nice value shape there because that helps us to find that form. It could be a vest, helps us to see obviously the inner border of the jacket. And these value shapes at his crotch here, so shadow shapes, help us to find the separation of his right pant leg and his left shorts leg or whatever. And some wobbles and things and wrinkles we'll cover in a minute. Little value shape there. Under the lapel, under his breastplate, little shadow shape there helps us find the lapel. Same with this girl, shadow shape there, shadow shape there. She has some more subtle shadow shapes happening here. They're not quite as dark as like a cast shadow, but they're helping us to see the folds in the fabric of her dress as she's walking. Also here in her armpit, some subtle value shapes there. So all of the tools we're going to use, including the value, and just like all the other shapes, the main thing we're going to need is the contour. All right, let's talk about wrinkles and folds. Obviously, we can't talk about clothing and clothes models without getting into wrinkles and folds. Now, this class is not about wrinkles and folds, more about shapes and specifically contour shapes and shapes of this of the clothing of a cloth model. But I just want to quickly go over the wrinkles. Let's talk about the fold types. And this diagram here is from this diagram is from a course called the Famous Artist Course. It's a beautiful, like a mini course. One of the sections is on fabric, so you can find it online. It's wonderful. And this has a really nice diagram of some of the fabric shapes. The ones that you'll see a lot, well, you'll see all of these actually on models, but specifically clothes figures, especially casual clothes, ones that we'll be drawing quite a bit, are things like zigzags, half locks, these pipe folds. They look like pipes. Spiral folds obviously are things that go around sleeves. Little diaper folds that happen. They happen. They're more obvious on fabric over here in the upper right. Like if you hang a fabric in a still life, for example, but they do occur on human beings in dresses and in jackets on the back of a jacket. We'll see some examples there. Half lock. These happen a lot where your increases and wrinkles and folds, like in your armpit, in your elbow, whenever you bend your arm or bend your knee. These are typically the types of folds you see at the half lock. And these drop folds and inert folds also occur. Now, the thing to pay attention to is really the shape. And that's what we're going to focus on, obviously, in this class. But when you look at wrinkles and folds, don't think, oh my God, I got to draw the wrinkles and folds. Oh, I got to have a beautiful drawing like the diagram, or oh, I got to copy the photo and be a realist. It's yes, you can do that, but for this class, I want you to think when you look at wrinkles and folds, look at the shape it makes. Look at the shape it makes. Pay attention to the shape it makes. Because that's going to be important, obviously, because we're going to learn how to see the shapes and eventually how to interpret and design. So pipe folds look like cylinders. So when you see cylindrical things, you know, okay, that's a pipe fold that looks familiar. You'll see this a lot. Zigzaggy folds look like Z's. When you see kind of like a zigzaggy Z pattern, you go, okay, all right, those are types of folds. Diaper looks like a U. Looks like a U, sort of like a wide U, like a wide U, like a bow and arrow, sort of, because it has two anchor points. And half lock looks like um, sort of like a zigzag, but they kind of interlock a little bit more. So you'll see that quite a bit. And spiral folds are folds that wrap around the cylinder. So when you see things that kind of form the cylinder, for example, the arm sleeve, the jacket sleeve, the pant leg, they'll typically be in the shape of spiral folds and pipe folds to some extent as well. And remember, again, at when you bend your arm, bend your leg, or in the armpit, those are where you'll see the half locks and the zigzags. And we'll look at some examples of diaper folds. So don't, if this is your first time looking at the anatomy of folds and wrinkles, don't get too caught up in it. Just pay attention to the shape, cylinder shapes, zigzaggy shapes, and sort of this upside down, well, this kind of U shape is what we're going to see a lot. And another thing to keep in mind about fabric is the idea of anchor points or line of action. This drawing on the left is from Bern Hogarth's dynamic drapery book. Comment below if you have this book or have seen it. It's a wonderful book. And a photograph on the right all show the idea of anchor point. Basically, fabric kind of where fabric, attaches to itself, or where it's sewn, it creates an anchor point, and then the lines of the wrinkles and folds tend to converge. So if you look at the men's crotch, for example, in this example on the left, right, the wrinkles tend to converge at the crotch. The armpit, like I mentioned, wrinkles in the arm will converge at the armpit. Even things like the back of the knee, when you bend the knee, those type of folds will converge. So those anchor points are areas where the lines of the wrinkles will converge. And on the right here, it says photography. You could see The fabric converges where? At her waist, at her waist. And she's also holding here, even where close to her hand, you can see even here the fabric, the wrinkles starting to converge. That's something to keep in mind when you look for the shapes of wrinkles, and obviously eventually when you start to design. Okay, let's look at some examples of fabric shapes. Now remember, some of the shapes we're looking for are these kind of pipe folds. We're looking for these kind of things. We're looking for the diaper kind of things, and we're looking for zigzags and half locks or interlocking zigzags. So these are some fabrics we can look for. Now, over on the left here, you have the Pietà by Michelangelo. And let's see what we can see. So I see right away what's called a diaper fold. Right, remember where fabric converges, that's an anchor point. So if you follow this here, so this is hanging fabric. So hanging fabric will produce that U shape, right? That U shape. Where else can we see? I see some of these pipe folds right here at the around the hips and upper leg of the Jesus figure here, right? Pipe folds, they wrap around the cylinder. So this is great. You'll see it a lot on the legs. Some zigzagging here on the Virgin Mary's fabric here. She has some mini pipe folds up here, right? Shaped like little pipes. Half locks here. See that? The half lock. Basically interlocking zigzags. This is also a half lock. In the sleeve of the Virgin Mary in the pit of her elbow here. You have lots of little mini half locks. I know it's kind of hard to see. Little bifold here. Okay, well, oh, here's another little pipe fold shaped like a cylinder. Now let's look at on the right here. These you have an anchor point, and you have well, this whole thing is sort of an anchor point, and that creates the U shape, right? These drop folds are called diaper folds, I believe. And then you have interlocks. Nice interlocking shape there. Little pipe fold, cylinder shape. So a big one there. Some interlocks here. Interlock. Little mini pipe fold happening at his collar. Little mini pipe fold here. And, you know, sculpture is a great way to study design and simplification of fabric and hair because, you know, sculptors have to. They're working in physical material. You know, you can't possibly, you know, sculpt each and every strand. So you really got to be able to design your shapes very well. And illustrators, again, are another great example. This is J.C. Leindecker, of course. Let's look at some examples of fabric here, of wrinkles and folds. So we have a beautiful anchor point giving us the diaper fold. Same anchor point on the left, also a little bit anchor point on his hip and under his arm, also giving us some diaper folds there. Let's see, here's another diaper fold hanging, sort of this cylindrical cylinder type fold wrapping around his arm. A little bit of half lock there at his wrist. Nice half lock here. You can say his little pipe fold here, but where else? Some sort of inert type of fold here. Now let's look at the example on the right. So there's some beautiful fabric here. Lots of zigzags on his leg, right? Zigzag, zigzag on his leg. These are interlocking, well, it's sort of zigzags here on his arm. Little bit of a diaper fold here on his waist. Zigzag and half locks here in his armpit. Half lock right there. Nice half lock in his armpit. On the female, her dress makes these little pipe folds. And sort of these overlapping, interlocking type forms there on her dress. So just some beautiful examples in artwork here. Okay, let's talk about the process. So I have sort of this 5-step process. Now, actually, these don't have to be in any specific order, except for number one. Arguably, number one is the beginning of all the way I draw anyway, but more like the shape focused, design based style drawing. And so they don't necessarily have to go in order, but I think they all are very helpful in getting us the end result. So step number one, contour is king. Just like the face, the figure, the hair, a landscape, an environment, we got to get the contour of whatever we're trying to draw first, nail the outer shape first, the silhouette. Next, step two is sections, and we'll go over that in a minute. 3 is bunching and gathering forms. So these are where fabric comes together. 4, look for value shapes. And step 5, wrinkles and folds. So contour is king. Now this example on the left is by Loomis. And it's not quite a fabric focused or costume drawing, but you can see he put his reference here on the right. You can see the clear attention to our good friend contour. Boom, 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 boom. Loomis obviously illustrator, so very heavily contour focused even on the head. Beautiful sharp contour there. So that's what you want to begin your drawing with the contour. On the right, we have Lion Decker. And this is just a spectacular, it's a spectacular painting, but this fabric is incredible. It's so interesting in design, and you could argue it's too stylized. It's not realistic anymore, quote unquote real, but it's very compelling to me. So look at this beautiful, sharp, sharp, sharp contour priority, right? Although he has just gorgeous detail on the interior, none of it works unless he establishes the contour first. So contour is king, just like everything else. We got to nail that down first, and we covered all those tools extensively. Okay, step 2 are sections. So what are sections? Well, fabric is, or clothing. See, clothing is never just one piece, right? You don't just like a t-shirt. The t-shirt isn't just one piece. T-shirt is actually typically 3 pieces, right? You have 2 sleeves and sort of this thing that goes over your body, this sort of vest thing. So fabric is made up of sections. So for us to see the shapes of our fabric, remember, we want to get the contour. We have to kind of know and understand the individual sections of what we're looking at. So some sections are like on clothing, like for example, on a jacket, you have the chest or the breastplate, they believe it's called, the sleeves, obviously, pant leg, collars, lapels, like this on the left, you have a hood. On women, you have skirts. So these little sections, even though they're all sewn together and does make one cohesive piece of clothing, we got to be mindful of each section. So, and the important thing for us to see and to understand is each section has its own contour. So on the left we have again this drawing by Barg, and you can see the up top you have this hood, sort of this hood section, right? And then you have sort of this thing that you drape over herself, and I believe it's one piece connected to this. I could be wrong. But that's one piece, and a little bit of a sleeve, and then she has a long sleeve kind of shirt underneath, right? So that's a proper sleeve. And then she has the breastplate or the vest of her inner dress here, and then the actual dress itself, obviously. So this one's pretty nice and clear, easy to recognize. On the right, we have another line decker. Men's jackets, obviously it's a three-piece suit, so we can easily understand. Okay, there's a shirt. The shirt has two pieces, collar and the vest of the shirt. You have the tie, obviously. In the jacket, you have the vest of the jacket. You have the collar or lapel, its own piece. Obviously, the sleeves. The vest, three-piece suit. Men wear a vest underneath the jacket, and the pants, obviously. The pants also are sewn, so you could divide them into two pants. So this is the lapel, other side lapel, the vest, and the sleeve. So clothing has sections. We have to be aware of them, and we have to get to contour. Contour is key. Bunching, bunching, gathering, they're basically just masses of fabric. So where fabric collects, where there's excess fabric, there's going to be wrinkles, half-lock wrinkles, zigzag wrinkles, the pipe folds and things. So that's things that we have to look for, because again, each little bunch or each little gathering of fabric also has its own contour. So on the left, we have photography. Obviously, it's a real photograph. And look at her arm. There's a big bunching of fabric. She rolled up her sleeve, but it's also just a lot of fabric. So it kind of bunches and gathers at the sleeve there. In this case, at her elbow, she rolled up her sleeve. Same on the other side. Her skirt is one piece, but because the way she's holding it, just to demonstrate, she's creating a big section of gather, a big bunching of fabric. And notice how I called out the silhouette of that little chunk. So that little chunk has its own silhouette. Even the dress at the bottom, that's the front of it, and then the back where it overlaps has its own little silhouette. So each individual piece, the shirt collar, or excuse me, the collar of the sleeve where it meets the vest or the chest there. On the right, we have Lion Decker. And look at the bunching of the fabric on his right, our left, right here. Beautiful gathering of fabric, creating interlocks, half locks, zigzags and half locks. Same here, little zigzags. A little bit of gathering. At the waist, right? This is men's shirts when they wear the belt. You can see a lot of pinching and gathering here. So these create some beautiful little pipe folds, even a little subtle diaper fold action kind of happening. But mostly interlocks and zigzags here. Interlock there. Same on the right side. On the right side, the model's left, bunch of fabric gathering, creating beautiful interlock. There's an interlock there, overlapping, little interlock zigzag there, interlocks all over the lower arm as it meets as the fabric gathers here, where he's kind of resting it on the golf clubs. So um, fabric is one piece. It has sections, and even individual sections can either gather on their own, or the model, based on the model's actions, can create areas of gathering or bunching fabric. So those have contours we have to be aware of and define. Okay, so next we want to look for value shapes, because value shapes, aside from local value, obviously, but when it comes to clothing, wrinkles and folds, because there'll be areas of shadow. So value shapes help us to identify and define wrinkles. On the left, we have, well, both of these drawings are by Loomis. On the left, we have a beautiful little pencil sketch. You can see the beautiful, gorgeous, simple graphic value shapes. You know, it's almost just a nice, it's almost a two, it is in my eyes, it's a two value sort of drawing, just very graphic. But look how he suggests the half lock at the inner elbow there with that value shape. Look how he suggests the pipe fold of this big outfit here with that value shape right there. The shadow side, light side. It's basically a boxy pipe. On the right, we have another Loomis, and absolutely stunning tonal drawing value shape here. It's almost no line at all. This value shape here, the dark value shape, is helping us to see, okay, that's the pant leg, and that's the jacket. Beautiful value shape at her armpit, showing us, oh, beautiful, gorgeous interlocks and zigzag folds there. Subtle value shape here at her elbow. Subtle value shape there. Uh, Dark cast shadow shape here, helping us to clearly identify the jacket where it meets the leg, and where the two legs meet and overlap, the fabric of the two legs. Beautiful light and shadow shapes here. Look at this beautiful interlock, right? Remember these shapes from the diagram? It's all right here, all not drawn in line, but done with a value shape. So excellent use of value by the great Loomis. And finally, the last part of the process is the detail, obviously, and for clothing, it's wrinkles and folds. So here's where you really, just like drawing hair, you know, you can't draw in every individual strand, and really you can't draw each and every individual little wrinkle or fold. You're gonna drive yourself nuts. It's gonna take forever, and it'll probably look very bad. So what I suggest is, just like Loomis, both of these drawings here are by Loomis, just like Loomis, we want to suggest the fabric with value and tone instead of laboring to manually draw, you know, I got to draw the, there's a, there's a, right, right. Just a big old mess of line. It's better to be like Loomis and suggest with value and tone. Let's quickly look at the image on the right. Look at her. Look at her sleeve of her left arm. Look at the beautiful wrinkles and folds there. But do you guys see any line? Do you see any line at all? I don't. I see beautiful suggestion with value shapes. So just very subtle values. He didn't draw with the line, although he could, but it would kind of lose that quality. So that's a gorgeous way to suggest fabric right there by Loomis. Just using subtle value. And that's what I recommend. Instead of drawing with a hard line, maybe, if you're drawing with pencil, instead of, drawing with the with that kind of mark, use the side of your pencil to get more of a tone at a lower value, a lighter value tone to suggest the fabric and a softer mark. Over on the left here, we have another Loomis. And this is an example where he uses sort of dark accents. Now it's very, very minimal fabric and folds at all. Excuse me, wrinkles and folds, right? Very minimal, but because the contour is so strong, the contour is very sharp. Look at the contour of her skirt there, sharp and clear and clearly defined. Her upper body as well, her jacket. But because the contour is drawn so well, and obviously it's a light fabric, he was just able to just like, boom, just hit a touch, nice touch of a dark accent. Right there's the cast shadow basically. So a little value shape, helping to show a wrinkle and separation of the sections, right? Remember, we got to be mindful of the sections of our clothing. This right here is a little cast shadow separating the upper body from the skirt, and the skirt creating a beautiful fold right here with a nice dark accents. And just like on the right, he put a little subtle touch of tone here, a little subtle touch of tone, not line, but a little bit of tone. He used a softer mark, softer edge, lighter value to suggest fabric. So this is a excellent, excellent example of suggesting wrinkles instead of trying to manually draw wrinkles and copy. We don't want to copy. You want to interpret and design and make good decisions. How are you guys doing so far? Are you with me? Okay, let's do a quick demonstration. I'm going to start with a figure. I got to give myself the framework of the figure first before I put clothing on it, obviously. So I need to, go through the process that we're all familiar with. If you're not, I got tons of figure drawing content on my YouTube channel, obviously, and I have some uh, full programs. I got an 8-week figure drawing program if you really want to get that sorted out. Step one, silhouette. So I started kind of already doing that. The shoulder is a great place to start. Find the bottom of the sleeve. And shirt sleeves are basically cylinders, real easy to draw. Same with pant leg. Actually, I feel pretty good about the silhouette. I kind of drew it quickly, and obviously I got a lot of experience, so it goes by quickly. But if you're doing this at home, as part of your homework, don't think you have to rush this stage. Really take your time. Okay, let's look at individual sections. The vest of the jacket. Got to note this pocket has an interesting. Just make a note. It's there. The sleeve, arm sleeve there. T-shirt, pants, where the pants meet the boots. There's lots of interesting fabric happening there. So now we got the sections. Where's their gathering? Where's their bunching? Obviously, the here at the armpit, a little bit at the shoulder. See the zigzags. So okay, wherever fabric gathers, is going to be zigzags and half locks. Nice half locks happening here behind the knee, and look at the bottom of his pant legs right here at the bottom. Lots of gathering there, zigzags. You see that? All right, so let's start just from the top. Now, I could try to manually draw and copy what I see, but remember, when I see these types of shapes, they're going to be kind of zigzags, interlocks. That's what I'm looking for. Pipe folds, and these. I'm just going to, I know that is a zigzag because it's not quite wrapping around the form, right? It's sort of sitting on top. It's a gather. So I'm just going to kind of roughly sketch in some some kind of Z type of shapes. Really, obviously, I don't want to do too much in line, so I want to get to the tone next. But just quickly give myself a little mental note, like, okay, that's someplace to pay attention to. Little shirt there. Um, Here we have interlocks inside, little interlocks at the interior of the arm there, inside of the elbow, and a little bit of a zigzag at the wrist, a little bit of a gather at the wrist. Same here at this wrist, beautiful zigzaggy type of things there. I'm going to do some of that with tone, but just give myself a little note for now. And I could do a half lock here. I can invent half lock there. It's nice. Uh, Zigzags at his waist, a little bit of a cylindrical type folds wrapping around the cylinder of the body. Half lock behind the knee. Remember the the anchor points where fabric converges. Typically on a man's pants, it's at the crotch. So it's a nice way to suggest or design some fabric there. Notice I'm not copying. I'm not copying those marks. I'm just, doing what I know is one of the laws of fabric. Fabric will gather or come to an anchor point. Half lock here, a little bit of cylindrical folds happening there. Again, I'm looking a little bit, but mostly designing. And then a bunch of gathering at his boot. So there's no way I'm gonna try to copy all those beautiful folds and wrinkles that I see. I'm just going to design some little zigzags. For now, if I feel like I need to, I can always go back to the reference. Okay, value. Now, obviously, it's all kind of dark, but let's just put in some tone, help us separate the value. I'm going to start with the dark tone here before I do my little half tone. And here I'm using some tone to suggest light and shadow, and to kind of suggest some wrinkles and folds at the sleeve. Light and shadow there. Light and shadow here, value shape there. Little wrinkle I can suggest, Cast shadow of the arm over the body. And these little half locks, some of them have kind of darker ideas, little darker shadow shapes. Some of them don't, more halftone shapes. So this part I would take more time. Obviously, I'm trying to do demonstration, so I'm rushing a little bit, but when you're at home, take your time with this. Again, suggesting. Cast shadow. There's a soft cast shadow. It's got a soft edge to it. Uh, in the crotch there, little converging wrinkles behind the knee, behind the knee. Actually, the whole leg starts to go into the lower leg, starts to go in the shadow, which is helpful. And just looking at the value shapes, light's generally coming from above. So basically making little soft cast shadows there at where the fabric gathers. Okay, I feel pretty good about that. Feel pretty good about that. Little shadow here, separate. I can go even further and add tone. I'll just quickly demonstrate that. Okay, so just to drive home the point of suggesting fabric with value in tone, so I just quickly um, toned my canvas, pretend like I toned the canvas. So now what this will do is it'll help give me opportunity to add light. Add light. Give me a little bit more. You see that wherever I'm leaving it, see that right here, suggesting a wrinkle. And under his chest there can suggest wrinkles with tone. Suggest wrinkles and little highlights with tone instead of using line. So suggesting fabric, wrinkles. Remember, just like Loomis, creates a beautiful feeling of more sophisticated detail. So remember I said I would come back to this area, the sleeve, it's not looking quite how I want it, but it's definitely helping the tone, using tone to suggest is saving me a lot of time and headache and just right making it a quick way to make it look much more sophisticated. And you can even go one step further. I'm just going to touch on it now, but now you can literally suggest with a highlight. This only works if you got some tone paper, but just a quick example right there. And then come back here to this area. Right, you can make this feel as sophisticated, as wrinkly as we want, using tone as well, a lighter tone as a highlight. So that's just very quick and crude example of using tone. Okay, one more. contour. So let's get the contour down, make sure it's tight. Contour, and also can do the individual sections at the same time. That would be helpful. So we have the vest, the chest section. And here she has a little, the dress kind of crosses over and overlaps her right breast piece here, a little piece of lapel overlaps the left, creates a little thing here, a little decorative thing, and then the beautiful dress swaying in the fabric's wonderful. And I got a lot of margin for error. Obviously, I don't have to copy exactly what I see, just use it as a springboard. So I can definitely design some of those shapes as needed. So that's good. It's one of the beauties of clothing, just like environments and hair. You have some room for error, some room to design. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, the end of her sleeve there, end of her arm, inside of her arm. Okay. Okay. Next, sections. So I kind of got them going already. Got the front section of her dress. It overlaps her dress. The belt, it's one piece, but the belt fits nicely into the breast, which overlaps this breast section, the chest section, overlaps the, this nice piece here, the sleeve. That's really about it, the dress. Gathering, so we have some gathering here, bunching and gathering, right? Lots of it here at the, so these are pipe folds here at her dress that's in the wind. A little bit under her breast, a little bit of gather there. Those are zigzags, little cylindrical folds happening there. So it's not really that much gather, really, not really that much. Lots of cylindrical folds. See how these wrinkles here are following the shape of her cylinder of her arm. Those are real easy to design, very helpful cylindrical folds. And let's see. Okay, sections, gather, value shape. There, little couple of value shapes there. Converging, remember the shoulder and the crotch is where you get those converging sort of wrinkles and folds. Form shadow there on her left side, or right. And there's some little, it's like a bow, little decorative element there. I totally forgot to do that line. It's okay. Obviously, this piece is casting a shadow over the other half of the dress. And these little shadow shapes where the pipe folds are happening. Right, these are pipe folds. Same here at the bottom, these little pipe folds. And cast shadow. All right, now I got some tone. Now I can suggest with tone, suggest wrinkles and folds, kind of go a little bit deeper to what I had. Pipe fold there, pipe fold there. Create the form shadow. Remember, pipe fold is basically a cylinder. Create a form shadow there. Here's a little half lock happening here. Little subtle little pipe fold kind of things happening there at the front of the dress. The dress overlaps, kind of blowing. So this I can totally embellish. I could play with the contour even. It's not right. I'm trying to copy when I should be a little bit more design. Right, that looks okay. Let's go to the chest again. Arm sleeve. Suggest some wrinkles up here. And same here. Oh, I totally forgot the collar. And I'm just going to add a little bit of a wash of tone. You can do this with the side of your pencil if you're doing traditional, just to kind of give me a little bit of more tone, more value to play with. And wherever I leave it light, or the value of the tone underneath sort of suggests wrinkles, sort of like what we saw Loomis do in the last demonstration, using sort of this tone to suggest wrinkles. It's a much better, more efficient way to draw complex things like wrinkles. So you see that it's starting to feel more 3D just by doing that, adding a little bit more tone. See on the sleeve, it can use a little bit more love, a little bit more contrast. I might do that. I might zoom in. Right, the dress feels much more dynamic with that little bit of tone there. Let's see. Suggesting some subtle folds, cylindrical folds in her stomach area there. I'm going to zoom in now. Just want to quickly play with this, add a little bit more contrast. So you see, I'm barely even looking at the reference now. I'm almost inventing these folds because I know, like the Bern-Hogarth diagram, we know that these are converging for a reason. And now they're kind of wrapping around the cylinder of her arm, because her arm is straight, so that we know there won't be any half locks or zigzags, but we will see cylindrical folds, folds that wrap around the cylinder, in this case of her arm. And again, if you've never like studied fabric and drawn a bunch of it, it may take you some time before you kind of get the feel for how these shapes look. So I would encourage you to study that student's course and famous artist course. I just copy those diagrams. That's what I did, is just copy the diagrams. It really gave me a good understanding. Okay, so that's I feel pretty good about this as a fabric study. So for homework, I recommend studying plasters, sculptures. Michelangelo's a little bit tricky. I would stay away from someone like Bernini, a high Baroque. A plaster cast like Barg, like any of those Barg plaster casts. So anything more simplified that'll help you get a grasp for simplifying and grouping fabric shapes. So study some sculptures, some plaster casts. And then also I would recommend doing some line decker. So try to copy line deckers, do some fabric studies, and he'll, you do enough, you'll start to understand how he does it. So he's one of the one of the greats at clothing and illustrating fabric. Obviously, Loomis would also be a great one as well. And then I recommend doing some everyday casual clothing, male and female. These are examples from my sketchbook back when I was doing some fabric studies. So these can be a lot of fun, and you'll learn a lot. If you apply some of the things you learn here, you copy and you study the famous artist course, or maybe you have Bernd Hogarth's book, copy his diagrams, and yeah, I think if as long as you can establish the contour, the silhouette of the outer shape, and then also the contour of each individual section, you're pretty much 80% of the way there. And the rest is just a matter of design and design interpretation. And obviously, like we saw here, we want to use a lot of tone instead of trying to manually draw with line.